Hi guys, it's Shelby. Welcome back. Today I am going to be making, or at least decorating, a tissue box. So I have your basic kind of wooden tissue box from the craft store. The bottom slides out. And basically my idea for this is I want it to be completely like colorized marble with like gold dripping down. I think that'd be really cool, really pretty. So what you're gonna need for this craft is some marble. And by marble, I mean just like, you know, file folders that are marbleized. These come in a 3-pack with pink and blue, but I really like the purple bluish one, so that's what I'm going to be using for this project. Something to adhere it to the wood with, so I will be using just kind of a glue stick. It's disappearing purple, so awesome. And then for the dripping gold hot glue, gold nail polish, I chose Insta-Dry because I don't want to be here for like 8 hours. And then I thought maybe I might want something a little bit extra, so I have these strip adhesive gems, which at the very least I will use as feet on the bottom of it, if not incorporate it somewhere on the sides of it. And I'll include everything you need down in the description below along with my socials. Let's get into it. Alright, so first things first is I need to measure out how much folder is needed to cover my tissue box. So I'm just going to open it up. There is a watermark here that I want to be careful of, but I'm just going to open it up. Take my box, and I can't measure 4 pieces exactly the same because it opens this way, so one side does need to be a little bit shorter. It doesn't have to be 100% because with the hot glue edging it's going to be a little bit forgiving, but I still want it to be, you know, relatively close. So actually I might not even need to measure. Maybe I can just draw this out. That would make life easier. Yeah, let's do that. At least for 2 of the sides. I'm just going to lay it flat and draw, draw, draw. Perfect. Box number 1. I'll do it over here. I want to stay away from where the watermark is, and I do need to cut one of the sides shorter, but I'll worry about that in a second. Pull this out and put it short side down. Here we go. So now let's do the top and bottom. For this one, I'm just going to draw a square for the top. And for the bottom, it's got a lip, so I actually need to draw a smaller square. That's okay, we'll just pull it out for now. Set the top down. Oh, it's not a perfect square actually, it's a rectangle, that's interesting. Line it up, and just going to go inside and draw the circle. There we go. Now for this. Oops. Okay, so these are all of my pieces. I've got my top, my bottom, and my 4 sides. Now I just need to cut them out. So cutting it out is pretty self-explanatory. I think it probably works better if you use a pen, because then you're going to put a little groove in the paper as well as a marking. But a pencil would totally work as well. Just make sure that your lines are nice and crisp and that you don't draw like too many wiggly ones so that your scissors can actually do it. Cutting out the center was a little bit tricky, but basically just stab it and then cut along the lines and you have your lovely sides. gonna start just kind of measuring things out. Actually turned out pretty well. So now we're busting out the fancy disappearing purple glue, which I actually appreciated at the store. I wanted clear and I couldn't find it, but I was working too slowly, and you can see like half of it started to dry and go clear, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I have to work faster. So that actually did help me that it was purple and disappearing. But basically just get a giant amount on the paper, like as much as you can, and then glue it down. But it sticks to wood pretty well. It's actually like a really good project. And I mean, you remember it from school. It cleans up really well. It's non-toxic, won't stain your clothes, washes off the skin. It's pretty great. So for pressing it down, I found the best thing to do was just turn it over on the table, put some pressure on there, going back in for the sides. This part's pretty sped up, but I will show you a couple sides. Seriously, just as much glue as you can get on there. For the bottom, like taking it out works best because you can only do so much smushing it with your fingers. Like you really do need to put it against a flat surface and just smush all the air bubbles out of it. But it really doesn't need to be, you know, set upside down or weighted for very long. Just kind of smush it down, you know, 10-15 seconds and you're good to go. So we're going to be putting on the sides. The only thing here to really pay attention is because it's a rectangle, not a square. Make sure you put the right sides on the right side of the box, especially the short side, because that's only going to go on one side of the box. But otherwise, yeah, it's pretty easy to put on. It went on well. It held really well. So super excited about that. Would definitely suggest the Elmer stick glue. And then once you get all of your pieces on, it actually starts to look pretty good. I'm going to show you here in a second, but that's where the first time I really was like, oh my gosh, this is totally going to work and it's going to look really cool. So that's all the sides on. Super marble and gorgeous. So already it looks markedly improved on where it was, and there's nothing wrong with this. Like, this is a cute little marble case. That's where the edge comes out. But I just wanted to have something a little bit extra, so I'm going to be adding hot glue, just kind of dripping down. This is going to seal the edges because they're not perfectly flush. And also I'm missing a little bit of paper there that's going to conceal that and just make everything look a little bit better and a little bit less austere. Like, it's very straight lines, which, you know, goes with the marble theme because it's stone and you get straight lines, but not what I'm going for. So we're getting hot glue. Okay, so for this effect, I need the hot glue really, really hot. I just want to create like this dripping kind of molten gold, you know, poured over the top of it type effect. So I'm going to, yeah, you can see the glue is dripping out of my gun, so that's perfect. Basically, I don't want like your typical hot glue where it looks like it was piped on. It needs to look like it was like dripping down. So I'm just going to get the inside here a little bit. I just want a little bit of texture in there. It's also going to let me test to make sure that the glue is in fact hot enough. So imagine like you were soldering with gold solder. That's kind of illusion we're going for. Just kind of it dripping everywhere. And this is going to go through a lot of hot glue, just so you know. This is not a one-stick project. Okay, so we want to avoid any of these little spiderwebby things. I'm going to go around the edges, just like that. Actually, I'm going to come up first because I want it dripping down, so the top part needs to be the last part done, and then do the top. I'm just going to start down here. So really just make sure your hot glue is really, really hot when it goes on. Kind of pipe on both sides of the corner. You're kind of going for this drippy, liquidy effect and look, and softening the corner up a little bit at the same time. So both sides of the corner, a little bit over the edge. Not really a wrong way to do it. So I need to be careful of this edge here, so I'll do that one last actually. Just kind of keep piping up towards the top. The idea of that is that the effect of the look of gravity of just like the droplets kind of dripping down. So if you do the top first and then try to do the bottom, it's just going to be weird on there. But yeah, I found pulling out the bottom helped me not glue it shut. So that might be something you want to do. Or if you're really handy with the gun and can direct the glue exactly where you want it, don't worry about it and close it, but you know, when in doubt, pull it out a little bit so that you don't lock yourself in. And with all 4 corners done, it's time to move to the top. What I did for this was just kind of pipe right along the edge from the top and really just tried to get as much glue on there as I felt I could. I would go over a couple areas a couple times just to like get the natural dripping down. You can see it a little bit there in the middle. I did go back over the spots that I thought were a little shrimpy, and this used so much hot glue, but honestly, like, for the effect I was going for, I thought the best way was just to kind of pipe right along the edge and don't manufacture the drops, just like actually let them start dripping down because you've just put so much glue on there that it can't help but just kind of go over the edge a little bit and start dripping. And then, like I said, you can touch up a few spots, but if you do like, you know, 1 line on the top and 1 line on the edge and 1 line on the side, and try to make it look like it's cohesive and all dripping together, it's gonna look more manufactured. I think it's not gonna look kind of like that naturally watery dripping kind of feel that I was going for with the look. So that's what I did. This side you can really see it better, and it really makes a difference. Like you can see when I turn it, just kind of the hard edge of, you know, what kind of looks like marble. It's the marbleized paper, but the hard wooden edge versus kind of this almost like, I don't know, I keep saying watery because it's like that watery effect, but it's like it's softer edges, it's a little bit more dreamlike. So yeah. And with the top done, we're moving on to the bottom. Same thing, just kind of give it that drippy, droppy edge. Basically, all you're trying to do is conceal the hard line. Do beware of the side that comes out. So for the side that doesn't come out, you know, it's okay if it gets on, you know, the paper and goes up a little bit. But for the side that goes out, pull it out a little bit, just do the wooden part, wait for it to dry, and then, you know, just do the marble part so that it looks like it's one piece when it's closed, but you're not actually gluing it together. That's the tricky part. It's not actually difficult, you just kind of have to watch what you're doing. And then we're gonna move into making the sides look like they actually belong with the bottom. So to accomplish that, basically just draw a little U shape and fill in the corners from edge to edge just to soften it a little bit. So it looks like the water like dripped down it and like collected in the little corner before moving on. Alrighty, so my hot glue is dry. It is looking pretty fantastic. And now it's time to paint it. So I've got some quick dry nail polish in gold, and I'm just gonna go over the hot glue with that. So this is where the magic happens. The gold paint completely transforms the look of it. You could kind of get an idea for the rough outline with the hot glue, but once the paint hits it, it's absolutely everything I was imagining. It's a beautiful kind of, almost like a melted ice cream in Versailles, if that makes any sense at all, but that's totally kind of what it reminds me of. It's like, it's almost a classic look, but it's like a very kind of, you know, cotton candy version of it. I don't know, it's awesome. But when you're doing the paint, just make sure there aren't any holes underneath the little like drip marks where the glue is. That part tended to kind of stay unpainted for a while, so I just had to pay special attention to that. But you can see it's kind of coming together. Just make sure you get all the surfaces. You don't want any white or, you know, translucent hot glue sticking out. Just lovely gold to create that gorgeous look we're going for. And it did take a fair amount of time, so, you know, buckle up for that. I was at it for maybe an hour and a half. But don't worry, I am not going to make you sit through that, because as hard as it was to do it, it would be even more difficult to watch it. But you got the idea. Basically, if you can see hot glue, cover it with gold paint. Okay, now that that's done and that's dry, I'm going to do the very last bit, which is taking some of my adhesive gems and I'm just putting them on the corners. These I'm doing without it inside because I don't want to glue it shut, so I'm just going to glue it high and having it kind of stick out. So hopefully when it goes in, it'll just slide under it. That's the idea anyway. So I'm doing the medium-sized ones, and they're actually already adhesive, but I just want to make sure they stick, so I'm just doing like the tiniest little dollop of hot glue. You could even like press it in and sink it in if you want, but I don't want to do that because these I can't sink in or else they'll stop it from closing, so I do want it up above. Just in case you're wondering if some thought process went into why I'm not sinking them in, yes it did. these are the tricky ones. Okay, that's it, ready to put it together. Perfect. All right guys, you ready to see how it turned out? Ta-da! Oh my god, it's so cute. It's so cute. I love it. It's so beautiful. It kind of reminds me of like conceptually what I have in my head as Versailles, even though it's not like what Versailles actually looks like. But kind of that like cotton candy marble with like dripping gold. You know what I mean? Look how cute this is. I'm so excited. So excited. Totally functional. Totally beautiful. Not gonna lie, it did actually take a lot longer to make than I was expecting. I was like, oh, 20 minutes. No, this was a couple-hour project. It really shouldn't have been. I mean, like you cut the paper, you glue it on, hot glue, paint it, but yeah, probably like 2.5 hours all said and done. I mean, there was drying time involved, so it's not like you were like working for 2.5 hours, but not the fastest project, but super adorable. Love how this turned out. Very excited for it. I'll post a little picture at the end, just a couple different angles, just because it's kind of hard to get them all on here, but this is awesome. I'm so pleased with this. If you want to make it at home, I will link everything you need down in the description along with my socials. Please give the video a thumbs up if you did like it. Please consider subscribing. I hope to see you soon, and have a... Shh. I'll see you soon. Bye.